wrestling bits. Subscribe now.
I always hear people talking about who you remind them of. You know, they talk about how you're the next Sting or the next Jeff Hardy or this and that and the other. I want to know, who did you look up to, if anybody, coming up before becoming a wrestling? Is there anybody that you modeled your career after?
Wrestling wise, or just
wrestling wise, and
no,
the other way too.
Yeah, nobody in wrestling really spoke to me as a human. But I was a huge admirer of guys like Sting, their body of work, and like the guys like Mick Foley, just dudes who were artistically and physically pushing the limits of what wrestling is. But outside of the ring, I would say guys like Henry Rollins, or guys like Bam Margera, just people that were pushing the boundaries in other forms. You know what I mean? I like crazy shit.
So as a guy who likes crazy shit, watching wrestling as a kid, because kids are so impressionable, but here you are watching all this crazy shit. Were you just watching to see how crazy people can get, and that's what you would gravitate toward?
No, I gravitated towards everything, like the storylines. Like that's like a big thing that dragged me into it growing up, was just the storylines. And I obviously like the physicality of everything, but the storylines is the thing that kept me every week, being intrigued, because there's only so much you could watch someone get their brains bashed with the chair before you move on to something else. So it's definitely storylines. That's why I went to film school and stuff, because I admire storytelling.
And that's the thing about you going to film school, correct me if I'm wrong, you haven't been in a cinematic match yet, have you? I don't believe you've been in any cinematic matches.
Nope, never.
That shocks me. Isn't that something that you feel like you would want to do? I know you have all that property. You have a wrestling ring at your property and compound. Is a cinematic match something in Darby Allin's future that you'd be excited about?
Absolutely. I'm game for it. And like I told people before, I guarantee you it would be the most insane shit you've ever seen. Like by far the cinematic match, I will make it my point to make it the most insane one anybody's ever seen.
Can you just give me a nugget of just one little insane detail that you've come up with that you think nobody's ever seen before, that you have cooking in your mind?
For example, look what we've done with my promos. I believe it was about a month ago when I was wrestling Cody. The week before, I ran over my friend in the backyard with a car. And then there was no crash pads. There was no nothing. I literally, it was my first time driving a stick shift. So I kind of lost track of how fast I was moving. We agreed to go 10 miles, but before I knew it, I was hitting him going 19. And he hit the windshield, and I saw his body fly. And the cameraman that was in the back seat was like, "Yo, it's not looking good, dude." And I thought I killed my friend. I was scared, but just stuff like that. You look at what I'm willing to do for a promo, like jump off an 80-foot bridge. You could just imagine what I'm willing to do for a big time match, like a cinematic match, a big time feel. Yeah, I will probably be off TV for a few months after that cinematic match, if there was one.
And before we go forward, your friend is doing okay, I assume?
He's doing good, but last week we were at Bam's house in Philly, and he fell 15 feet from the rafters straight to his shoulder on a skateboard. That's on my Instagram page. Yeah, so he's not doing good right now, but totally unrelated to me hitting him with a car.
Was that type of era of the skateboarding, when it came to CKY, I believe it was, and Jackass, did that have an influence on you in terms of where you wanted to go with your life?
Oh, yeah, if it's the number one thing that did have an influence, it's that by far. More than anything. Just because if you could make a living off of breaking the rules and doing whatever the hell you want to do, can't ask for a better life. I was just surrounded by so much ass kissers, minding their P's and Q's their whole life, and I wasn't going to play that game.
And you are, very ingrained in the skateboarding culture, and you do a good job of ingraining that with professional wrestling. So what is it that skateboarding gives you that wrestling doesn't give you, and then vice versa? Is there anything that when you're in the ring you get out of wrestling that you don't think skateboard could be able to provide you with?
So with the skateboarding, I felt like my life was more outlaw. I could really go and do whatever I wanted, and if I broke my ankle, so be it. But there's a lot more responsibilities with wrestling. But at the same time, when I would fall on a skateboard, I wouldn't have that adrenaline rush from people. But you fall in a wrestling ring, there's thousands of people cheering you on before the pandemic, and there's nothing that beats that feeling. So, and I really couldn't tell a story on a skateboard as you do in the ring. You know what I mean? But the only story I would tell on a skateboard is hopefully I don't die on this stunt. So
Now, when it comes to you being in AEW, we just saw that huge angle with Sting where he showed up. You said you're a big admirer of him. How soon before Sting showed up to AEW did you know, and what was your reaction?
I can't remember if it was a week or something before. I can't remember the exact time frame, but I remember it being like, oh, like the whole time I was like sitting in the rafters. I didn't know. I didn't know that that was alluding to anything. I was just like, dude, I would be hanging out on the rafters regardless because I'm kind of antisocial. And but when I found out, it was go time. There's nothing as big as having the ball to me than have someone of Sting's caliber come in, and you're in charge of help writing that story of his debut. It doesn't get any bigger than that. Yeah, like I take that very, very serious. So I was like, it's business time. This is gonna be insane. So
And how has it been dealing with Sting behind the scenes, or have you gotten any advice from him? How's that been?
I've gotten some advice from him. Uh he's seen some of the videos that I've done, and he's a big admirer of those. And like I said, man, this guy, he can be in the game for however long he's been in the game and constantly keep people intrigued. So if you could pick his brain on that, that'd be the number one thing, because yeah, he's in a league of his own with that mystery and everything that he controls. He like controls the audience. When he walked out there and I'm just laying in that ring and the music starts, I haven't had a feeling like that in wrestling as long as I've been doing in the 5.5 years. I know it's a short time, but I've experienced a lot of wild shit in that 5.5 years, but there was nothing that topped that. That was like an outer body experience where I got lost in the moment big time. So
Yeah, it comes across on screen, not necessarily that you got lost, but that there is some kind of awe that when you and Sting were having that moment. Is that something, obviously it's a match that you would like to have, but is that something that you've got on your bucket list or something that you're looking forward to as a possible showdown against Sting?
absolutely. If he's down, I'm down. Yeah. It's like a thing I told myself as he was walking past everybody and as he made his way towards me in his debut. I needed to stand because I needed validation for myself that I belonged in that spot, and then that I didn't feel unnatural there. So I was like, I'm looking at you eye to eye, face to face. Like, I'm not, I belong here. I've worked for this. I don't think anybody else is going to be able to tell the story like I'm going to be able to tell it. So, like I said before, with everything I do in life, you give me the ball, you're never going to see it again.
And you've got a balls to the wall style. You're a daredevil. We all know this. I can only imagine how many maybe old time wrestlers have pulled you aside and given you advice about the things that you've done. What kind of advice and conjecture have you gotten from maybe old schoolers who maybe have told you not to do as much? And what's your response usually to that if you do get that type of advice?
See, I respect any advice that people give me because I'm very into listening, but there's only so much advice someone can give me with my mindset on life in general. There's just like, I don't care. Like, there's a side of me that like I'm gonna live it up as fast as possible and just go crazy. And I'm not really thinking about being 60. I'm thinking of just going hard right now. And I get severely just bored and just depressed if I sit on my ass too long. So I constantly have to be moving and doing something crazy. It's like the number one thing that keeps me going is just like being myself and just going crazy and going adrenaline junkie. So yeah, man, I just politely say yeah, I'm gonna do myself my own thing, man. So
And that's worked for you so far. You're a TNT champion. You've done so much at such a young age. What's your ultimate goal in professional wrestling? What is success for Darby Allin to where when all is said is done, or maybe it's already come to where you say, I've really done what I set out to do?
the thing is, it changes every year. If someone told me 3 years ago I was gonna be in the position, on paper that would have been, oh, I've made it. But now that I'm here, I have to move on to the next thing. It constantly changes. So nothing really has ever, it's a scary feeling. I wonder if anything's ever going to be good enough, but I feel like that's what keeps me going as strong as I'm trying to go, because I have no comfort zones, or I'm not like, oh, gee, I'm just happy to be here right now. I'm always, my mind's never turned off and it never stops running. So
Do you watch any wrestling outside of AEW?
no, I just watch skate videos. That's it.
Is it because you're not interested in it? You just don't think it's good? Is there any particular reason as to why?
I don't want to be inspired by anything. I want my body of work to be its own thing. Sometimes you watch stuff. I know it's like that with skaters. A lot of skaters don't watch certain videos because they don't want their skating to be inspired, just like I with wrestling and stuff like that. And plus, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. I respect everybody's like hard work and stuff, but there comes a point where I just want to be in my own brain about things. I don't want to be inspired by anybody.
Do you have ideas in the future to continue to integrate skateboarding with professional wrestling? Any ideas that are going to bring those two worlds together?
Yeah, no, I have some huge plans coming up. I just can't talk about it until I know it's for sure, because I don't want to, shit the bed and people be like, you lied to us, man. How things can fall through, but I have some huge plans right now. But besides that, I've been working on a skate video for the last year now, but it's hard to balance the two worlds because I'm trying to film a full video part while wrestling every week, so it's like balancing the two worlds and not getting hurt but I'm so passionate about skateboarding that I have to do this. I have to finish this video, and people have seen snippets of my clips. Like I used like the backflip that I filmed where I got into a stall and jumped off this ramp and backflip back on the board. I used that for a promo on TV on the show and stuff like that. But I just want to show people that I'm passionate about it, and it's not a cash grab, and it's not, because there's a lot of fake ass people in wrestling, and I ain't one of them. So I want people to know that I'm very passionate about this, and this isn't for a gimmick or money. So.
And your passion for skateboarding, I mean, you've discussed this in the past, but you've become such a big deal and you're getting such a more of a mainstream star. Do you ever think about or worry about the fact that maybe one day when somebody wants to give you a bunch of money, wherever it is, or sign you to a long-term contract, they might say, no skateboarding for you, Darby. We don't want you skateboarding so you could hurt yourself. Is that a concern of yours that you're ready to deal with?
Tell them you can't pay me, man. You can't pay me all the money in the world to quit skateboarding, because I'm gonna tell you a story. The first year I started wrestling, I thought I had to like fit some mold of like what a wrestler should be. So I stopped skating for probably a good year, if not longer. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but something felt lost inside of me. I didn't know. I was so depressed, and it was the weirdest thing. And then I started stepping on the skateboard again. I was like, this was it. This was it the whole time. So I found a long time ago that I was like, you cannot change who you are as a human being for no matter what profession is, no matter how much money, because money cannot beat depression, period. So that's where I was like, dude, nope, not doing it. So keep all your billions of dollars or millions of dollars or whatever it is, man. I'd rather be living under a bridge with my skateboard. So
that's very admirable. And to that point, what do your friends in the skating community have to say about your wrestling? For example, a Bam Margera, people like that. What do they have to say? Do they give you any feedback about you and AEW?
Bam thinks it's interesting, but I know he's not a wrestling fan. But I'll show him clips. And Tony Hawk, he doesn't know really anything about wrestling, but he admires how crazy it is. You know what I mean? Same with Steve-O. He's just like, damn, you're on a whole to do that every single week. That because you take a fall, like, you know, filming Jackass, you could chill out for about a couple months, or if you need to be, you know what I mean? With wrestling, it's like, dude, like this is you gotta stay in the loop with things, man. So yeah, they think it's crazy. And that's the thing with wrestling to me is there's nothing else like it. If it's physical Broadway, nothing else like it. So
now, I know you don't watch anything outside of AEW, but AEW does have a working relationship with Impact. It's on right now. So it's just top of mind right now. Is there anybody in Impact that you feel like you want to call out, that you've maybe checked out, that you want to have a match with?
oh, there's only one person, and that would be Mr. Ethan Page. Back in 2017, and this isn't a storyline, this is real life. He broke my elbow with a shovel in a match, and I have the scar and a metal plate. It was documented on that Vice thing called The Wrestlers. And he's like, I don't know if you can tell right here, I have a dent in my skull.
Oh, I see that. Yeah, with the light there, I see it.
It's been there for shit like 4 years now, and that's because he gave me that dent in my skull. So he's the only one that's physically and actually taken time off my career. So I would love to get in there and finish some business with him.
Did he at least apologize to you, Darby?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I got back at him a little bit. I got back at him. I picked him up from the airport. My friend, who looks like a homeless crackhead, was hiding at the gas station, and Ethan doesn't know this friend of mine. So I picked up Ethan from the airport, was taking him to a wrestling show, but I was like, I'm gonna stop at this. My friend poses as a hitchhiker. So I was like, yo, Ethan, this guy's hitchhiking. Can I give him a ride? And Ethan's like the nice guy. He's like, yeah, absolutely. I'm not gonna, you know. So Ethan's sitting shotgun, and my friend, who's the hitchhiker, sitting behind him. Halfway through the ride, my friend pulls a switchblade out on him, and Ethan about had a heart attack. And it was a smidge.
How long did you guys wait before you told him it was a rib? How long did you guys wait before you guys said just kidding?
It was a good hour drive, but in the hour drive, my friend was saying, "Oh yeah, like, you know, I sell all these drugs," and was just acting like the most sketchy guy. And he's like, I'm a pizza delivery man, but I'm also a drug dealer on the side, just making up all these random stories. And then halfway through, he just pulled out a switchblade, and Ethan thought he was gonna stab him through the seat or something. But it was it was funny. But that's like just a small smidget of the revenge I want.
Oh, that's incredible. You still want revenge. Well, I can't wait to see it now. Now you've made it into a storyline. I can't wait for it, Darby. Hey, this has been great. I really appreciate you taking the time. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. You being unique, it all is really clicking, and you're doing it on your own terms, which is what I like the best. So congratulations on all your success, and thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime.